Hello and welcome to another hero guide brought to you by Dota-two Cast. Today we will be looking at the Radiant Strength hero Clockwerk. Clockwerk is a devoted ganker who is a common pick in high-level games, while also being an extraordinarily fun hero to play because of the finesse that is required to utilize his 4 active abilities. Let's now take a look at Clockwerk's skills. Clockwerk's first ability is called Battery Assault. This ability launches shrapnel around Clockwerk, dealing between 15 and 75 damage while proccing a mini-stun on a single random unit within the skill's small AoE. This ability procs every 3/4 of a second, and the total duration is 10.5 seconds. So in all, there are 14 total procs of this ability. If you do some quick math, you'll realize that the seemingly trivial 75 damage procs add up to over 1,000 magical damage at level 4. Because the skill hits a random unit around Clockwerk, it is best used on an isolated enemy hero to reach the maximum damage potential. Thankfully, Clockwerk's other 3 skills make isolating heroes a piece of cake. Clockwerk's second ability is called Power Cog. This skill summons 8 cogs around Clockwerk, trapping him as well as any other nearby units inside for 4 to 7 seconds. If opponents come near the outside of the cogs, they will be pushed backwards a short distance and have a small amount of mana drain. Additionally, the cogs can be killed by opponents with 3 attacks, or by Clockwerk himself with 1 attack. This skill has a snag range that is about equal to that of Battery Assault, so use Battery Assault as an indicator as to when you should use this skill. This ability is a godsend for isolating heroes because it both traps opponents in a close area with you, while also preventing their team from assisting them. There are some more uses of this skill that I will describe a bit later in this guide as well. Clockwerk's third ability is what I believe to be his signature skill. It's called Rocket Flare. This is a large AoE nuke that deals 200 damage at level 4. This nuke, however, unlike others, has a global cast range. The skill takes about 12 seconds to travel across the entire map. Additionally, the skill will provide vision of the impact area for 15 seconds. This ability has to be one of the most versatile skills in the game. It can be used to snag creep kills while also harassing in lane, or to deal a finishing blow, or damage some opponents in other lanes. It can even be shot to the opponent's base and attempt to kill enemies with low HP retreating to the fountain. Also, the vision aspect can be taken advantage of if you fire a rocket at a rune location just before the rune spawns in order to gain vision of the area in case you don't have wards. Overall, this is just an amazing ability that should be always maxed first. Clockwerk's ultimate is called Grappling Hook. This ability allows him to fire a hook between 2,000 and 3,000 range. On impact with an enemy hero or enemy unit, Clockwerk will be pulled to the target, and when he reaches it, it will be stunned for between 1 and 2 seconds and receive between 150 and 250 damage. This skill is what makes Clockwerk into the frightening ganker that he truly is. You have the range and potential to stun unsuspecting opponents from far into the fog of war. This skill's strength can also be boosted by Aghanim's Scepter, reducing its cooldown to 15 seconds while also allowing you to grapple to allied units. Now that we've taken a brief look at Clockwerk's skills, let's talk about laning. Clockwerk can be run in any lane. He was a powerful solo, and he also could be useful in a dual lane, though I would not recommend using him in a tri-lane, as experience is very important for Clockwerk early in the game, unlike most tri-lane heroes who benefit more from gold than experience. As for starting items, you'll always want to grab a salve and a set of tangos, but other than that, Clockwerk's starting items are flexible. You can get a stout shield in 3 branches, or a ring of protection in branches if you are going to a side lane and you think you might benefit from a ring of basilisks. My personal choice is usually 2 gauntlets of strength in 2 branches, so I can make a relatively early Urn of Shadows. For the rest of this guide, I'm going to assume that you are in a solo lane. Whether it is middle or a side lane doesn't particularly matter. Just try to take the information I'm presenting and use it synonymously for each specific laning situation. It is always smart to throw a rocket towards the opponent's tower to see who you will be laning against at the start of the game, especially if you are wary of a level 1 gank or first blood attempt. If you're facing another solo, you could generally get away with last hitting normally, and you should be able to match the harassment of your opponent by spamming Rocket Flare. If you're facing a dual or tri-lane, and you know they can kill you if you go for last hits, you should try to stay on the threshold of the experience range, and use Rocket Flare to last hit. With this method, you can generally still get 1 or 2 creeps per wave, while forcing opponents' support heroes to use regen to keep up with your rocket harass. If you find yourself running low on mana from this banning, don't hesitate to send yourself a clarity potion or two with the courier. You should be standing out of the damage range of any heroes in your lane, so you can have your clarity applied while spamming without fear of it being dispelled. Unless you are against another solo hero who happens to be melee, you shouldn't have much chance of grabbing a kill before you hit level 6. But if you do, that's great. Once you hit level 6 though, the perpetual ganking should start. If you are solo against a fragile range hero like Shadowfiend, Tinker, Lion, or something of the sort, you can often try to go for a level 6 kill by hooking them the instant they're out of their tower's range and using Battery Assault followed by Cog to keep them trapped. Some of the best opportunities for kills against a solo lane arise when the rune is about to spawn. If you see your opponent is going for a rune, fire a rocket to gain vision of them and hook onto them when they move for it. If you were facing a duel or tri-lane, it's harder to get level 6 kills unless your allies decide to gank for you. If this is not the case, send yourself a teleport scroll and teleport to an ally's lane. Hook onto the opponent in that lane and use the kill combo to help your allies kill the opponents in that lane. As for items at this point in the game, a bottle never hurts because you should be ganking quite frequently, and you can collect the runes very easily. Urn is also a great item because of the survivability, mana regen, and the great healing it provides after a successful game. As for boots, treads, arcane boots, or phase boots are all decent choices. I like to pick up arcane boots when my team will benefit from the mana boost. I like to get treads if I will benefit from the survivability more than the extra mana. Additionally, phase boots may be gotten if you think the survivability and extra move speed is necessary to catch up to blinkers or other fast enemy heroes. Once you enter the mid-game, you should continue ganking while also protecting your team's carry if you have one, or trying to push if your team revolves around a pushing strategy. You should aim to pick up either a Vanguard, Pipe, or Aghanim Scepter for survivability. As for luxury or late-game items, Necromonicon and Blade Mail are two items that shine because of Clockwerk's Power Cog ability. Essentially, your Necro minions are afforded 7 seconds to freely attack your target within Power Cog. Blade Mail works similarly because the opponent you have trapped is either forced to attack you and take additional damage, or simply not fight it back at all as you kill them. On top of these items, Heart, Assault Curious, Radiance, and even Dagon can all be viable. Clockwerk is so flexible because in large part he relies on his skills for both damage and positioning. Once late-game fights begin to occur, your priority is to lock down enemy carries so that support cannot reach them. The great thing about Clockwerk is that he allows a team to choose the terms that they fight on. Because of his skills of enormous range, if the opponents enter a choke point or unfavorable position, don't hesitate to fire your ultimate and call for your team to come and fight. Well, that's Clockwerk in a nutshell. However, I'm going to go over a few extra intricacies that you can use after you've gotten down his basic game flow. If you're trying to kill an enemy blinker, such as Queen of Pain, Anti-Mage, or Puck, you can't initiate with your ultimate. Instead, you need to come from Fog of War or scare them with a rocket or two to make them blink into a defensive position. The instant that they blink, use your ultimate and follow up with Battery Assault and Cogs. Since their blink should now be on cooldown, you'll have plenty of time to deal a killing blow. Battery Assault can disrupt enemy backswings and cast animations. For instance, Earthshaker has a noticeable cast time on all of his skills, except for his ultimate. If he gets caught completely alone, you can kill him without even allowing him to use Fissure on you or fight back. Another cool thing is that Power Cogs is a really strong escape mechanism. If you're running away from opponents who are faster than you and will soon catch up, use Power Cogs in a choke point to create a barricade that will prevent them from reaching you. Then destroy the farmost cog in order to escape safely. This takes advantage of the push and mana drain that I mentioned earlier. Lastly, don't be afraid to throw hooks in the dark. You'll be surprised how far a little intuition and attention can get you with your hook accuracy. Try to remember how far hook's range really is. You can hook opponents from over a full screen away at level 6, so you don't always have to keep yourself in the frame when you're setting up good hooks. Before I go, let me give you a quick skill build overview. You should max Rocket Flare as your first skill always, taking Battery Assault at level 2 and Cogs at level 4. Always take your ultimate at levels 6, 11, and 16. Afterwards, max Battery Assault followed by Power Cogs. Once all of your skills have been maxed, begin to take stats. Thanks for listening to this Clockwerk guide. I hope you guys learned a lot. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe, and look out for our next Hero Guide video.